Friends, hello, good afternoon. Welcome again. We are back with our daily message. Our daily message while we're socially distanced, yet we're spiritually connected. And I'm going to start off with a question today. We're on our journey through all the campaigns, the point campaigns that the Rebbe instituted. And our next one we're going to discuss, I'm going to start off with a question. The question is like this. What is a bigger virtue? Is a bigger virtue love of God, or is a bigger virtue love of one's fellow? What do you guys think? Which one's a bigger virtue? And this question was asked to the Alter Rebbe, the first Chabad Rebbe. And the topic of today is going to be this mitzvah, this campaign the Rebbe did, one of the 10, which is the mitzvah of loving your fellow as yourself. Loving your fellow. I'm going to give you a backstory. There was once a person that went over to some sages back in the Talmud, and they wanted to know, and he went over to one sage and said, tell me the entire Torah standing on one foot. In other words, in a short period of time. If you had to put the entire Torah into a nutshell, what would that be? And one of the sages, you're crazy. The entire Torah, the thousands of years of history, all the wisdom standing on one foot. It's an insulting question, and sent this person packing, sent them away. The same person went to a great sage named Rabbi Hillel Hazakin, Rabbi Hillel the elder, and they asked Rabbi Hillel the same question. What is the entire Torah? Tell me the entire Torah standing on one foot. And Hillel told him words like this. Adalach sani lechavrich leisavid. What you do not like to be done to yourself, do not do to another. In other words, AKA, love your fellow as yourself. The commandment in the Torah, v'yahavta l'reacha kamocha, love your fellow as yourself. And this was a major campaign the Rebbe set forth. And if I may, today is a very significant day in the Jewish calendar. It's many of us are celebrating Yom HaShoah. And Yom HaShoah is a day where we recognize that although there were many people, Jewish people and not, that suffer from hate, that suffer day to day from hatred, from utter hatred. If there's one thing we can learn from the times that our recent history has for the Jewish people, it is that we need unconditional love, that hate is destructive. And this is the cornerstone of Judaism. The cornerstone of Judaism is v'yahavta l'reacha kamocha, love your fellow as yourself. The Chabad, the Rebbe took on leadership in January 17, 1951. The Rebbe took on leadership. It was a small group in Brooklyn. And we were talking in 1951, a mere 5 years after the Holocaust. They're sitting in a basement. The Rebbe is sitting there talking to a small group of Chabad Hasidim that made it over, talking to a world that was a Jewish world that was crushed. Their spirit was crushed by the recent events of the Holocaust. And the Rebbe said story after story and set the guidelines for the marching orders and the mission statement for Chabad. And that mission statement is what? Love. The entire first Hasidic discourse was about love and love your fellow as yourself. And the Rebbe brought examples from every Chabad leader, how they loved, and the stories they did, that just the unconditional love that they had to one another, to somebody else. So, it's starting to rain over here. We're going to take this inside. So, while we'll take this to the front of the house while we have this rain that came down on us. So this unconditional love that the Rebbe instituted into the backbones of every single Chabad institution, every single Chabad institution around the world, is based on the plateau and the foundation of love your fellow as yourself. And that's what the Rebbe instituted from the first moment on. You have 3,500 Chabad houses around the world, all operating with the same motto, which is, what can we do for another? What is it that we can do? In a time like this, quarantine, what are we doing? Everyone's to themselves. It's a difficult time. The story that I said yesterday on the live of this family that came out, this is what it's all about, caring for one another. So circling back to our original question, what is a bigger virtue? A love to God or a love to a fellow? What is a bigger virtue? The Alter Rebbe in Tanya explains what is a bigger virtue is a love of a fellow. Why? Because God loves every single Jewish person. Every single person, period, God loves. And you cannot love somebody and say, I love you, but I don't love your children. I love you so much, but I don't love he or she which you love. So what is the right answer? What is a greater virtue? Love of a fellow, love of God? The answer is they're one and the same. You cannot have one without the other. And that is the message today, always, especially on a day like today, that what? Loving a fellow is the cornerstone of Judaism, is the cornerstone of a society, is the cornerstone of our Torah. Our sages taught us for thousands of years. If there's one thing you should do, is care for another. Care for another. That's the only thing that's where it boils down to. And the Rebbe set down that foundation until today. The thousands of Chabad houses out there are all focusing on that one motto. You're sitting at home, don't think about yourself, think about others. Think about others. L'chaim. L'chaim, friends, may we take inspiration of that. Mitzvah number 2, campaign number 2 of the Rebbe, which is to love your fellow as yourself. Treat people better than you treat yourself. I have a cousin that when I would stay at his house, he would give me better treatment than he'd treat himself. Breakfast and this, that is how we have to live. Constantly treating another person with utmost respect, with treating them better than you treat yourself. Wishing y'all a blessed day. I hope everyone's doing well, safe and sound. Please reach out to us if anyone needs assistance, financially, emotionally, spiritually, anything. Please reach out to us. We will help as many people as we can with our task force. All the best. Wishing you a blessed day. And stay tuned for tomorrow at noon for our daily live. All the best.